Perfect. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining in. I'm excited to be here today and share a little bit about our Keep Small Strong initiative. Just 2 seconds on myself. Adam Grohs, I'm the founder and CEO of a SaaS startup called AgnoStack, focused on e-commerce customer service. Love for anybody to take a peek at what we've been up to there, but that's not what this is all about today. In the midst of running this startup, I started this initiative called Keep Small Strong to help support small businesses across America, and excited to share a little bit of that initiative with you here today. So I go back just a little bit, the morning of March 17th, 2020. I'm not sure how many people remember this day. I know I certainly do. Tuesday, I woke up early in the morning, and I was sitting around thinking that I can't wait for the next time that somebody mentions the word Corona, that it reminds me of a beer instead of the craziness that is going on in the world. Was dealing with this nightmare and nonsense, the news cycles of all the hype going on around this pandemic, and really worried about everything going on in the world, but quite frankly, still sort of paralyzed and not sure what to make of it all, and really what was going to happen with the future and all of our jobs and all of our lives and everything else. And then late that morning, I was on Instagram, and I have an amazing bakery down in Miami, Florida, that I love. Amazing, actually, a vegan bakery, some of the best vegan croissants anywhere in the world. For those who are tuning in from various places around there, these are absolutely incredible. I woke up in the morning, and this favorite bakery of mine had put out an Instagram post that said, "Thanks so much for all of your service through the years. We're doing everything we can to try and stay in business. We're trying to keep our doors open and avoid having to let go our employees, or worse yet, having to shutter the bakery." And within a few moments or so, I was just sort of awestruck of, imagine, God forbid, that they weren't still there. And I sent a note directly to Carolina, the owner and head of the bakery, just saying, hey, I don't know if you've ever thought about selling online before, but I've spent the last 20 years working in and around e-commerce for some very large global agencies, hundreds of thousands of persons, multi-billion-dollar companies. I now run a very tiny startup, but I've spent a lot of time in e-commerce. I said, just personally, if you've ever thought about selling online, I'm happy to help you get a store set up within a day, get a new Shopify store online or something like that. And that was that. Nothing much more sort of thought about it. I didn't get a reply back, not even the next day or the day after. And then finally on, I think it was Thursday or Friday morning, I got a quick note back from Carolina that said, we've been, thinking about doing it online. We've been trying to do it ourselves, but, we're not really sure how to start or where to start. This was actually, I think, Friday morning. And I hung up that phone with her, and I said, for every one of those businesses that I know of, there's another 10 or 100 or 1,000, 10,000, probably 100,000 that are in the same boat as Larison Bakery. And it wasn't just about how could I help Carolina get their business up online, but what could I do with my connections in the industry for the last 20 years to help make a much bigger difference. So I hung up the phone with Carolina that morning. I started calling around to a bunch of close friends, former competitors, former colleagues, at a bunch of different companies, and really started to lean into this a little bit of, is there something that a collective group of inspired individuals across some companies with some real power could do to make a real difference? As I had an initial conversation, I think it was with Rich Lyons from Capgemini, or might have been Jim Butler over at Library Labs, but we really started talking about, how big of an issue this was. Small business we think of as small, but small is huge. 2/3 of all new jobs created in the last 25 years were actually created by small businesses around the globe. Just in America alone, nearly 60 million people employed by these small businesses. And where we really started to connect around was, if we were to come out of this pandemic sometime soon, and the only thing we were left with was big box retailers and chain restaurants, that's not exactly a world that we were excited to live in. And we've got to do something. We really got to help save these small businesses. So Friday evening, started calling around to a couple of people. By Saturday afternoon, I had about a dozen companies or so, including the likes of Capgemini and Taos Digital, and some folks from all over the place, Library Labs, PFS Web, et cetera, a number of very large consulting companies that have to go through a lot of bureaucratic control to have their name used in public, but a real collective in a day of about a dozen companies, about 40 people. The following day, we were up to about 40 individuals involved in Q&A, and we got on a call to start to figure out what could we do about this. We came up with the idea for what became Keep Small Strong on that call on a Saturday afternoon, and then for the next several weeks, we were on morning and evening calls nearly every day with some incredible individuals that you see here, and really came up with this idea in under a week. So picture these large multinational, multi-billion-dollar consulting companies, as well as some amazing individual volunteers, all on their own time, who are saying, let's take the amazing work that we would typically do at large scale for businesses and help small businesses completely for free. 100% for free. So 3 core areas that we landed on. How can we help them with logistics? So moving from typical storefronts where people were visiting them locally to doing local delivery, perhaps even national fulfillment or global fulfillment, help them drive awareness that they're still in business, they need our help as a society and as a community, and help with e-commerce, actually completely standing up some of these businesses online with the ability to sell, or if they had an existing e-commerce presence, helping them optimize that. All no strings attached, no fees associated with this, no dollars being exchanged, nothing at all other than some great companies and great individuals who wanted to come together to make a real difference. We got on a call about a week later. Brian Schulman, if you guys don't know him, one of LinkedIn's top 10 influencers, runs a weekly broadcast called Voice Your Vibe. He helped us actually launch Keep Small Strong less than a week after it was initiated. Eric Siegel, the former chief creative officer of Anomaly, who helped to put together the whole brand and the positioning and what this was all about. We launched that week on a live global stream, similar to this one, and we were off to the races with some amazing companies, with some amazing individuals, including Algolia, including some help from Shopify and Zendesk with some tooling behind the scenes, and some really amazing individuals from some great companies that dug in to help make a difference. We sort of grounded around this fact that we have to save these small businesses. We've got to make a real difference, and I'm excited to share a bit of how that came to life from a technology standpoint on the call. So the most important piece of the initiative itself, well, one of the most important pieces, helping businesses get stood up online was huge, but specifically in here, one of the things that we launched is what we call the small business marketplace. So if you go to keepsmallstrong.org and you're on the homepage, you'll see a handful of businesses that we've helped shop the marketplace. When you go into there, this is all powered by real-time search enabled by our friends at Algolia. We've got a really interesting setup where essentially somebody can come to the site and say, I need help for my business. We're glad to help them out. You can say, I know a business that needs help. or I'm an individual that wants to get involved with the initiative. For any of the businesses that reach out for help, or for any business that is a referral or somebody that says this is a local business I want to save, they show up in our marketplace. They have the ability to do, real-time keystroke level search across those, and that entire workflow is automated. So we go from the website directly into a Zendesk instance where we're able to triage and collaborate and help these organizations, these companies across organizations. At the same time, that listing gets automatically posted into our marketplace in Algolia. We have the ability, as we further work with the company to launch their store, to automatically update that search listing with a link to their online e-commerce site. And it's a really nice 360 effort in here that wouldn't have been possible without Algolia. It's been incredible to not have to worry about direct categorization or taxonomy or how do we make things speed up. But all of that's automated, tied through together from the website to Zendesk to Algolia and back on through to Slack, actually. Very quickly, just a handful of businesses that we've helped. You can take a peek at any of these, as well as follow us on social media. Isabel Vintage, a great vintage clothing store and accessory store up in New York that we helped launch their entire online presence. Forest and Ash was an amazing furniture shop up in the New England area that we helped launch their ability to sell online and figure out logistics of fulfillment, both locally and across the country. And then a really interesting one around an organization in Southern California that supports small businesses called Leucadia Main Street. We actually helped them run a live global stream called Leucadia Aid. After all of their local funding efforts, they typically run local fairs and things like that to help produce funds to support small businesses in their town. We actually help produce and stream and host the entire Leucadia Live Aid event. The last one I'll leave you with is just the sort of end of that story with that bakery in Miami. So they went from that initial conversation with Carolina to shutting the bakery down after not having, they made an attempt to try and sell online. That didn't go well. They didn't have all of the logistics in place to be able to have pick, pack, and ship in store and employees safely able to support that as it scaled. And then even thinking about how do they go further and actually handle nationwide shipping, they just came to a halt. And we helped them relaunch that online presence within a matter of weeks. I think we were 2 weeks from that initial call till they were live. And they went from a full shutdown to selling over 350 orders online within their first week, an additional several hundred the week after that. They've now come full life cycle to having brought back their entire staff in their stores simply to help fulfill online orders. And then they've reopened their actual storefront and now trying to figure out, do they need to move into a bigger space or into a commissary so that way they can keep both their thriving online business as well as their local storefront in place. So really near and dear to my heart. Carolina is a friend at this point and somebody who we're incredibly honored to have been able to help through Keep Small Strong. And I'll just close out with a little bit of a little bit of prose here. This initiative is very centered around things going on in the United States, but I think the importance of small business is one that affects everyone globally. So small, certainly not by measure of their ambition, their work ethic, or least of all, their contribution. Small businesses are not only the embodiment of the dream, they're responsible for nearly half of our economy and 2/3 of all job creation. Nothing small about that. And yet their chances of coming out of this crisis unscathed, if at all, feel minuscule right now. As social distancing and shelter in place somehow become familiar, so do store closings, workforce layoffs, and the folding of these businesses that are the very souls of our communities. Imagine a world without your local. Saturday mornings with nowhere to run out in your sweats. Your corner, just a place where two streets meet. We all take ownership of these establishments, my bakery, my hardware store, my barber shop. And so at this critical moment, we must take a stake in their future. So I encourage everyone, please go out, shop small, buy local, support your local businesses in whatever city you're in, anywhere in the globe. Please visit Keep Small Strong. If you know a business that needs help, feel free to refer them. If you run a business that could use some of our assistance, we'd be glad to help. Or if you'd like to get involved in the initiative, whether you're in the US or anywhere across the globe, we've got an incredible collective of volunteers who have been making a huge difference. So I will pause there for a quick moment and see if I can figure out how to stop sharing and open up for any questions. I see a few things that popped up in the chat and in the Q&A that I haven't had a chance to peek at.
Thanks so much, Adam. It was great and beautiful. So yeah, I can maybe ask a few questions to you because we have 2 questions from the audience.
Perfect.
The first of them is, what type of impact has the Keep Small Strong initiative has had so far on some of these businesses?
That's a great one. I think the example for Carolina in Miami is the most pertinent one for me. I've been incredibly, excited about what difference we've been able to make there. I'm just making sure my camera is still on here.
Yes, it is.
There we go. It's been incredible to see businesses who either haven't had time to pick their head up and launch an online business, or who had tried themselves and needed some extra support. It's so difficult to be able to think about, how do I become an expert in online in the middle of a crisis? And so not only have we helped a number of these businesses come online who haven't before, but to hopefully be able to build a thriving business that can withstand things like the pandemic, in addition to when they reopen their local businesses and perhaps come out of this even stronger than they went into it to start with.
Okay, cool. And then we have a second question that is a bit fun. What's the oddest business that you guys have been helping so far?
That's a great one, actually. Let me throw one more slide up here. So this is my favorite one. It's actually an alpaca farm out in California. So this is a business who reached out to us. They have a series of alpacas. Alpacas produce great wool and things to make fabric and whatnot. So you can go onto their website. You can purchase a bunch of different products made with alpaca fur. You can actually go and sponsor an alpaca, adopt an alpaca program to help make sure that these animals are treated extremely well. But my favorite part about this one is actually this piece here. So in the catalog, you can go there anywhere on the globe and shop the sites. In the catalog, you can actually go and purchase the ability to have one of their alpacas join you live for a Zoom meeting or for something like this. And we've had some really great fun with this one, Zoom bombing various folks in meetings where we've had an alpaca show up in some of these meetings or things like that. So this is my favorite one, near and dear to my heart.
We should have asked them to come to this event.
I thought about it. I wasn't sure if the alpacas would be awake for the day or asleep for the night when we were lining up time zones, but.
Okay, great. I don't see any other questions. So thanks so much, Adam. It was great. It was super cool to have you. And